So the idea of enjoying the process is something which I've heard plenty of times, but I feel like at least recently I've started to understand a bit more about what it really means. And what I mean by this is that, somewhat recently, like a few months ago, I released my first video game demo on Steam. At the time of recording, it's still pretty rushed because I wanted to get it out in time for the Steam Fest. But what matters really is that on the build up to making that, right? Like I felt fulfilled, I felt driven, especially like the last sort of 7 days before the deadline. I had to get the demo out. I was really sort of intense and I was almost a bit overworked. Once I got the demo out, it felt great for a very short period. And then afterwards, I realized, right, well, that's it, right? I need to move on. I need to press on forward. And that made me realize, and a few other events as well, that hmm, what I was really actually finding fulfilling was not the actual result. It was the actual process. It was the doing of the thing. It was the deep work. It was the well, yeah, effectively just working on that thing consistently. And the outcome, although it was good to get the demo out in this instance, it wasn't, or at least, effectively, it was very short lived. And I think I've seen this issue with myself where I would just be so focused on the end outcome. I would just, I would just basically go, look, the whole process of it, although I hate it, I just want to get the end outcome. And this was when I had my LinkedIn lead generation business, which I ended up burning out with and basically getting rid of. And I didn't really like that business at all. I got into it for the wrong reasons, and obviously I paid the price as a result. But no matter what short milestone I hit, I didn't really enjoy the business at all. And at least, having transitioned to obviously the stuff I'm doing now, YouTube and game development, it's the process which I enjoy the most. And this is the thing. Like I've found, at least for myself, is that look, I need to be working on things that are meaningful to me. Because I especially know from experience that that end outcome, no matter how many video games I make, no matter how many videos I put out on YouTube or whatever it is, like like it has to be the process that I enjoy. Like if I don't enjoy the stuff I'm doing now, then how am I supposed to enjoy it later? And it's just those thoughts that go round which just genuinely make me realize that, right, well, I just can't be so fixated on that end goal. It's good to have something to aim towards, like don't get me wrong, but if the process for the most part is always just something that is miserable for me, then that's not ideal. Now, the work I do, right, sure, there are more challenging parts, and I'd say that goes for everything. But I'd say, at least for me, it more so comes down to solving problems that I want to solve. I think that is probably the more so ideal image in my head when I think of something that's fulfilling, right? If I am solving problems that are meaningful to me, then I'm going to be far more likely to push through that discomfort, to push through those challenges in order to get the outcome I want. And, for the old business I had before, it's like I couldn't care less about all of the outreach and the lead generation stuff that I was doing, which is probably why I didn't really succeed much with the business anyway. And so it's like, I think really the message I want to get across, at least, is if you're not doing something which, for the most part, doing the process, if it's not at least remotely interesting, if the problem you're trying to solve, whether it's for yourself, other people, whatever, if that's not even remotely interesting or curious to you, if that doesn't get you thinking about it from time to time in your head, then that's where I think the issue lies. Now, sure, I think there's a level of action and commitment you need to take in order to develop perhaps more interest in something. But I think for the most part, if you don't find the problems you're solving right now interesting and fulfilling, whether that's a job, a business venture, or whatever it is, then I think that's just something to reflect on because, again, this is your life. I think you should live it on your own terms, and so on and so forth. But let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll chat soon.